Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hello, I'm Panda Beauty, and in today's video, as you can see the title, I will be doing Jaclyn Hill Morphe Palette Volume II palette review. I actually almost forgot that I had to do the review because I've been so busy doing the looks and stuff, and I completely forgot to do the review. So today I'm going to do the review and tell you my thoughts, my humble opinion on this palette. I'll do pros and cons, and at the end I'll tell you my conclusion, what I think about this palette, if I am happy with the purchase of this palette. So yeah, basically that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep it very short, very simple, very straightforward, no bullshit. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I've got my little notes here, and the first thing I usually start with is the pro. Let me show you the palette first. If you haven't seen it already, it looks like this. Really nice and clean, and this is the inside of the palette. And yeah, so my first pro has to be hands down the quality of this palette. I am super impressed with the eyeshadows, mattes, and shimmer. I wasn't happy with the first one that I got because it was super expensive, but the quality of the palette didn't match the price, so I wasn't happy with it. So this time, so far, I've used pretty much the whole palette, directly or indirectly, and I'm really impressed with the colors, the formula, and the pigmentation. There is barely any kickback. There's a little bit of fallout in the yellow, which is this one here. This one had the most kickback, but it wasn't too bad. I wasn't like shocked by it. And all the other mattes obviously have a little bit of kickback, but they're not as bad how my other palettes have been with Morphe or other palettes that I don't really like. But yeah, so the quality is really good. Quite happy with it. Alright, the second pro that I really like about this palette is the size. It has 35 eyeshadows in this palette, which is pretty basic or standard for Morphe. But when you look at the price point, $66, that's what I paid in New Zealand, that's 66 New Zealand dollars. The palette size is pretty good. I mean, it's worth spending $66 for 35 eyeshadows in here, because I've paid more for other eyeshadows like my Naked palette, my Tarte palette, you know, all those palettes. You get less colors and you pay pretty much the same amount or more. And so for that, comparing that, 35 for 66, pretty good. Another pro for this palette is I really like the color, which was the first thing I was really intrigued by this palette, was the colors in here. I wasn't sure if the colors will complement my skin color or if they will complement each other, but I was actually quite surprised. Not only that the color looked nice on my skin tone, but any combination that I've tried so far with this palette, they look amazing. They look really pretty. So I'm really happy with the color combination of the palette, as well as the color palette suiting different skin tones. So I believe this palette will suit any skin type, whether you're lighter skin, medium skin, darker skin. The color, like, it suits me, so I'm very sure it'll suit anyone who is darker than me or even slightly lighter than me. Plus the combination of colors is beautiful, like they complement each other, so no matter what look you go for, choosing whatever colors, it will suit you. So yeah, really impressed with the color combination, the color palette itself. And the last pro that I'm really impressed with, because I was not happy with it for the first time with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe Palette Volume I, is the packaging. The packaging is really sleek, really nice, really clean, tidy, bougie, whatever you want to call it. It looks really good. It's so easy to clean. I've had my foundation on here, I could clean it. I had the eyeshadows go on here, I could clean it. So that is a bonus for me, because the first palette, I just hated it. Anything I got on that palette, it would stick on there and it would not clean. The packaging looked really cheap. This one looks quite nice. It's like a vinyl sort of shiny finish. I really like that about this palette. So yeah, really happy with the packaging. For me, it's a pro. Alright, now that I've talked about the pros, let me talk about the cons, because there are some cons in this palette. The first con for this palette is that it's not travel friendly. I mean, that's very obvious with this palette, that it's quite big. Knowing me, I would still travel with this because I'm that type of gal. but not for everyone. If you're going somewhere and you've got very small luggage, this palette will take half of that space, so it's not travel friendly. Maybe Morphe can come out with a travel friendly sort of palette, like still 35 colors but like folding or something, I don't know. But until then, this palette is not friendly to travel with. Another con that this palette has is that it doesn't have a mirror. So if you are somehow traveling with this palette, you have to carry on your mirror with you, because this palette doesn't have a mirror. Did you know? I mean, it has a beautiful message from Jaclyn Hill to her followers, but a mirror would have been nice too. So yeah, no mirror, it's a con. Another con that I have for this palette, I don't know if it's a huge con, but I kind of noticed it, is that the colors, some of the colors, they repeat themselves. So as you can see in this palette, you've got the purples, and a lot of the purples look very, very close to each other. And then you've got the burgundies, a lot of burgundies look very close to each other. Then you've got the oranges, then you've got the oranges also very, very close to each other. So I feel like instead of similar colors like this burgundy, like a dark brown and then pinky brown burgundy, you could have like swapped it, like one of them for something else. And same with the purples, you could have swapped some of the colors for a different color instead of going in like, I don't know, like just having the same color. They're just lighter or slightly darker than each other. So I don't know, it's just, for me, I think it's a con because you've got colors that repeat themselves. Instead of that, they could have had something different, you know? Personally, I don't know, I feel like they repeat themselves and I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either, because I feel like they're very similar, you know, to each other, some of the colors. And another con that this palette has, and it's not a con for me, but I know it affects a lot of people, is that the formula for this palette has changed. I mean, I love the formula because it's very pigmented, but I know a lot of people will be disappointed that the palette is not vegan anymore. So some people might find it a bit disappointing that this palette is not vegan, because some people do like to buy vegan makeup or products, just their preference. So some people might be put off by that the palette's not vegan anymore. And another, that will be my last con, I would say, that some of the colors like purples and the burgundies and even the yellow, I remember using it, it stained my eyes. And I know some people can be allergic to products that can stain, or they don't like it on their skin, they don't like makeup that stains them. So for some people, again, that could be a con. Personally, it doesn't bother me at all, but I know there will be people out there that don't like products that stain their eyes or eyelids or face, or you know, so that could be a con for a lot of people. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that the product's not vegan and it stains. Alright, after my cons and my pros, the final conclusion. Am I happy with the purchase of this palette? And the answer is yes. Personally, I'm really impressed with the palette. Like I said in my pros, I'm really impressed with the quality of the palette, the formula, the pigmentation, the overall palette itself. I'm really impressed with, so I'm really happy that I did buy it. I was at the start, and I know a lot of people would be as well, scared of the colors. I mean, I love the colors, but I was scared, would this palette suit someone like me? Because I do makeup for wearing sort of purposes instead of like artistic sort of purposes, and I was quite surprised that yeah, it did work really well for everyday look, whether it's like daytime or it's like nighttime look. It worked really well. So yeah, I was really happy. I am really happy, and I'm still gonna use this palette for future looks and stuff. If none of the cons bother you, I would say go for this palette. It is really nice. It like is one of the really good palettes that I've tried so far. I wasn't happy with the first one at all, but with this one I am at least 95% happy. Obviously 5% are the cons. If there was no cons, I would have been 100% happy, but 95% happy is still pretty damn good. So yeah, these are my thoughts on this palette, my review, what I think about this palette. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you found some information that would help you decide if you do or do not want to buy this palette. So yeah, until next time, hope you guys have a beautiful day. Be happy and positive. I'll see you guys later. Bye.